Well, the election is just a few days away, and I think there's something that we all kind of know deep down, but we just don't want to admit it, because if we did, then it might take some of the wind out of our sails. And that is, this election isn't going to change a whole lot, regardless of who gets in. And I'll explain why today on the 306 podcast. Welcome back to the 306 podcast. My name is Scott, and I just want to thank you for joining us here today. If this is the first time that you are visiting, welcome. We're really glad to have you. And if you're a local, if you've been tracking with us for a little while, welcome back. And you can become a local. All that means is you're just going to be tracking with us as we strive to make the most out of every situation in our lives. And so today I want to be talking about this election coming up. Here in the state, we have a midterm election that's pretty big, pretty exciting, I guess. I don't know. I haven't been spending a whole lot of time thinking about the election. And I don't normally talk about politics. And so that's why I have no notes in front of me. So this may go well or it may go pretty bad. Time will tell. But I was thinking, as I was listening to a podcast yesterday, I was listening to Joe Santagato's Basement Yard with his buddy Danny. Can't think of his last name, but they were kind of talking about Trump and how it's interesting because Kanye's coming out with merch that is kind of pro-Trump, I guess. And you'll have to forgive me because for someone who makes a living off of social media, I am very ignorant to all the stupid stuff happening in our world. And not that I think Kanye is stupid, but like it's just not in my realm of interest at this point. And so from what I understand, and write in the comments if I'm wrong here, Kanye's coming out with some pro-Trump merch or something, and people are like all upset about it. They want to burn their Kanye CD. Do people even have CDs anymore? But they want to get rid of. They want to boycott Kanye. And it's hilarious because these are the same people that whenever Nike came out with the Colin Kaepernick ad, and people on the right were saying like, oh, we're going to burn our Kaepernick jerseys, we're going to boycott Nike. These are the same people that are like, that's so stupid, why would you boycott something? And now they're boycotting like Kanye. Like it's a joke. People are so addicted to just being outraged at stuff. It's like, I want to see how mad I can get at something it's almost like a contest. I want to see how mad I can get at something that's so stupid. The dumber the thing, the more outraged I want to be over it. Like, it's dumb. And it just seems like more and more things are just piling up. Like, we can't escape all of the nonsense that's happening in our world. And then you have more serious things. The events that happened at the Tree of Life congregation in Squirrel Hill over the weekend. If you know about my company, Visual Element Media, we've been in business 10 years, and 6.5 of those years were in Pittsburgh. And my wife had worked in Squirrel Hill. I had been doing some work in Squirrel Hill. We know exactly where Tree of Life is. We've spent a good bit of time around that neighborhood, and we know individuals that belong to that congregation. And, you know, you hear and you see on the news reports, you know, when Parkland came out, or Sandy Hook, or San Bernardino, the DC shooting at the baseball field. You see these come out and you try to picture, you know, what that neighborhood's like, what the people are like, and but with this one, as I'm sure they would say, if you talk to people who live in those areas, it's different when it's your area. Now we're no longer in Pittsburgh. I still have business in Pittsburgh, and I'm there quite a bit. But this was a different feeling. just completely overcome with sadness. And I think some people just react to sadness through outrage and by just acting out. And I think some people, unfortunately, I'll get flack for this. I think some people use moments of sadness to further their agenda. They use a situation where people are weeping, where people are sad, where people are vulnerable, and they push their agenda because it's easier to get people to move when they're vulnerable than it is when they're strong. There's a video going around on Facebook that's Pittsburgh strong, and just makes me think back to Boston strong and Parkland strong and all these places that are strong. But what worries me is the rhetoric that comes out. I mean, there's a video. I didn't want this to be mostly on the shooting, but I guess it ties in. There's a video of a Presbyterian minister in Squirrel Hill shouting, and it's, I would say it's funny, but it's just so anymore. Like, it's just like, come on people. She's shouting at President Trump as he was in town, and she's saying, "You're not welcome here. Can't you tell we don't want you here?" Then in the next breath she says, "We welcome everyone here. Can't you see we don't want you here?" It's like, well, if you welcome everyone, then you would welcome him. So, like, he's still a person. Anyways, so it's been different. And so that's kind of clouded our week, and it's brought up a lot of political rhetoric as well as and I just want to make this well known. President Trump, whether you think he's your president or not, if you're a United States citizen, he's your president. That can make you happy, that can make you sad, that can make you but he's your president. But here's something else. He did not cause this man to do this. The evil, sick, just horrible person that murdered those 11 people and injured a half dozen more is responsible for this. I don't even blame the media. Should President Trump get off of his phone and quit making stupid remarks? Yeah. Should the media stop chasing down stories that they know are just going to piss people off and make them more angry and aggravated than they already are? Yeah. Should people who are living on a 24/7 news cycle, who allow stupid comments to rile them up to the point of going on social media and going on these political tirades of nonsense, should they just chill out? Yeah, they should. Regardless of the side that you're on, there's crazies on all sides. On all two sides, I guess. But I would say this. What politicians desire is separation. And the reason they desire separation is so that we're always angry at someone. If we're not angry at people, then we're really not going to go out and force and do things. Because if you've noticed that whenever people are happy, they're kind of like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Like, we'll let it slide for a little bit, you know. But when people are jacked and they're angry at things, they're going to go out, they're going to riot, they're going to cause a scene, they're going to write nasty stuff on social media. And that's what politicians want, both sides, whether they want to admit it or not. And the media is kind of the same way. They want people to be outspoken and crazy, and they want to feed into that for people. And it's wrong. But who feeds into that? Us. If it wasn't effective, they wouldn't do it. So how do we get ourselves out of this? How what do we do? They say elections have consequences, and I believe that they do to a certain extent. But here's the thing. Regardless, like Trump got in, and he's done a couple of things. He hasn't done a tremendous amount that the entire country has changed. For some people, sure, it has changed. For some, good. For some, not so good. Depending on what your ideology is and what your worldview is and what your beliefs are, for some people, their life has gotten, we'll say, worse. More restrictive. I don't know. I can't say that my life has changed a whole lot from Obama to Trump. I know, shocking. What I can say is my taxes went down, and I'm really excited about that. As a business owner, I like it. Socially, Trump hasn't really done anything that I can say that I truly disagree with. I'm sure there's some things, but here's the thing, I don't follow everything he does. Because if I did, I would go nuts. If I had to follow something that one person did all the time, I would go nuts. When Obama was in, I'm sure he did things that I would agree with, and he did things that I wouldn't agree with. I mean, he got a Osama bin Laden. That's great. He actually increased he added more effort to the war in the Middle East. And we did some really good things under Obama. We did some really stupid things under Obama. Because here's the thing. There's the fringe, and it's kind of like the politicians and the media are like on the fringes. And there's like 10, 15% maybe on either side. That might be a big number. On either side that's like on the fringe of what their beliefs are. And then there's like everyone in the middle. Sure, you may lean one way or the other, but I would say you may lean left on some things, you may lean right on other things, and so the middle's kind of like that gray area where we're not quite sure, where everyone is. And I think that if we would really have an honest conversation, if we would quit getting so crazy, if we get rid of the Republicans and get rid of the Democrats and get rid of the titles and sit people down individually and say, here's a topic, here are some solutions, here is a topic, here are some solutions, here's a topic, here's some solutions. I just stuttered a whole lot there. Lay those out in front of people. I would say we agree on quite a bit of stuff. May not be identical, but I bet there would be room for compromise, room to adjust a couple of things, that we would still at the end be happy with the results. I really do believe that. Are we going to please everyone? Absolutely not. But we're a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy. We're not majority rules. That's why we have the Electoral College. And trust me, I don't think you would want this country to be a straight-up democracy. We're a republic for a reason. If you don't know what a republic is, Google it. Figure it out. Find out what kind of government we actually have. Because it's unfortunate that most people don't know what kind of government we have. So I say not a whole lot's going to change. So why vote? Well, because it's your civic duty to vote. But what can you do? And I think we saw a little bit of this with the tragedy in Pittsburgh. Within just a few days, over $500,000, I believe, was the final number, was raised. Was it $500,000 or 50,000? I'm not sure. It was either 50,000 or 500,000. I need to look that up, but it doesn't matter. Whatever the number was, 50,000's a lot, 500,000's more. But here's the thing. People raised that on their own. That wasn't the government coming in and telling people what to do. They instinctively They instinctively got into their pockets, donated money. They came out. They provided food. They provided help. They provided assistance for people. They didn't need the government to tell them to do it. They did it naturally because they believed it. Why can't we be more like that? Instead of being the person shouting on social media about how much we hate the other side, why not reach across the aisle and ask the other side how you can help them? Wow. That's a drastic move. We see all these people that say, "Oh, it's hate or it's love, not hate." Then quit hating the other side. It's not love, not hate. It's love unless you disagree with us and then we hate you. I don't want to be a part of that world. I'd venture to guess most people don't want to be part of that world. We need to vote. But the core of America is not going to change because of our politicians. The core of America will change because of the people. I just wonder when the people are going to wake up. When the people are going to say enough is enough. When people are going to stop putting so much emphasis on the politicians. Because the politicians look at what we do, not how we vote. Because they know that we're going to vote them in and then they can do whatever they want. But if we start being the change that we want to see in our politicians, if we start doing the things that we want our politicians to stand behind, that's where real change will come in. That's where we can make the most of a bad situation. Are we going to be the people that are ready to help in time of need? Because bad things are going to happen. It doesn't matter what president's in there, what Congress or what Senate is in there, what judiciary or Supreme Court is in there. Bad things are going to happen. Whether it's a tragedy like we've been seeing like in Pittsburgh, or whether it's a natural disaster, or maybe it's just your neighbor who loses their job or loses their house or is in a car accident. And they need some help. They need some finances. They need some food. They need some shelter. They need a vehicle. Maybe we can be the people that step up, don't wait for the government to get involved, but we say, you know what? We have some extra food. We have a car that you can use. We have an extra bedroom that you can use. Maybe we could be those people. Maybe if we can set the example for our politicians, we would get somewhere. Instead of praying that our politicians would be the example for us. Because politicians aren't going to be the example for us. They're going to be the example for them. They only care about their own personal agendas. They don't really care about our agendas. So who's going to carry out our agenda? Us. We need to be willing to stand up. We need to be willing to be a resource for people when they need it. Let that be our challenge this week. Maybe we extend an offer across the aisle to someone we know that differs, and we have a civil debate on it. It's going to be awkward. It's always awkward, especially when you're an awkward person like me. But let that be something that we strive to do this week. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of this content, what kind of content or topics you'd like to see us talk about more, and just keep those in Pittsburgh and all of those affected by these senseless tragedies in your prayers. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week here on the 306 Podcast.